So here we are, Hub Culture Studio. It is 2022. It would not be Davos without a chat with Olivier Oullier, friend, entrepreneur, neuroscientist, friend of Hub Culture. Thanks for coming along.
It's always a pleasure to come and have a chat with you, Edie, and enjoy everyone at Hub Culture.
So the last 2 years have been unbelievable. And the Great Resignation is only one of the things that's happened as a result of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. You and I have spoken over the years about how important it is to consider neuroscience, to consider the brain when we think about health, mental well-being, work, productivity. Tell me a little bit about how your thinking has changed and the science is developing as we think about the brain at work.
It's really crazy to see everything that has happened and how it impacted our brains. And in order to say how it impacted our brains, rule number one is to measure what is happening in our brains.
Right.
But that's not enough. I've been measuring brains for over 20 years now. What is really important is to be able to connect our brains with our workstations, mm-hmm. with environments in which we work. And this is what brain-computer interfaces are doing. Mm-hmm. Empowering your workstation to sense how you feel and therefore adapt to how you are in the moment.
Tell me a little about that. How does that actually work? What does that look like? And how does it help me as well as my employer?
It helps both.
Okay.
It helps you because sometimes, most of the time, we're not aware of the level of stress we're experiencing, how distracted we are. However, the algorithms that are sensing, that are looking at your facial expressions, some when you measure your brain activity, or you have a smartwatch providing information about your heartbeat. We have evidence-informed strategies, not only to tell you, hey, you're a little bit stressed, you need to pause, but also to engage some help when you're a bit distracted and you have to perform a task that is very demanding at the attentional level.
What does that look like? What could I do if I'm a little bit stressed? I'd love to take a break, but I'm on deadline. So what can that brain workstation interface help me do?
So the novelty is, we talked about that several times over the past decade. It's no longer just a matter of having the sensors. It's being able to build a digital twin of your brain. And this is what we do with inclusive brains. It's a set of algorithms, machine and deep learning, in short, artificial intelligence, that has been trained with a lot of modalities. Modalities are basically looking at how your face is evolving, how your voice is changing, how your movements are impacting or connected to what you do, how you type, how you press your phone. You're feeding a generic algorithm, and then we upload it onto your workstation or the metaverse if you interact with other people. And as you interact, as you work, it learns more and more about you. And the more it learns, the more it's able to connect the way you type to the brainwaves that were recorded. Meaning that even if you don't wear any headset that records your brain activity, we have some neuroscientific information that is related to how you type, to how you press. Others have done it in order to being able to detect depression just by the way people interact with a cell phone.
Extraordinary.
So learning from these people, we build these digital twins of a brain. It's the very start with inclusive brains, but it's really for us the way forward, not only in the physical workplace, but also in the metaverse.
Extraordinary. I can't wait to follow that. You know, one of the incredible jobs you've had over the last few years, we've talked about, is when you were at the head of healthcare at the World Economic Forum. I wonder, are there any trends that you saw happening then that have accelerated during the course of the pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that during my years at the World Economic Forum, which I really loved, was to have access not only to the policymaker, but also to the CEOs of the biggest pharma, medtech companies, working with them on public-private partnership. A big trend was the fact that there was less and less space for biotech labs. And that's really interesting because when you think about tech, a lot of people think you're going to be able to code in a cafe.
Right.
But biotech is the one tech that if you comply with regulation, if you comply with the law, you cannot do at home. It requires a certain environment, a safe environment with filtration, etc. Clean.
Has equipment.
Exactly. And this is why, based on that trend, with 3 other fantastic people, we co-founded Emmy Labs. And Emmy Labs is like WeWork, but for biotech labs. What we do is we transform any office in any city, a building full of offices, regular offices, into biotech labs. And the reason is, biotech always starts, or 99% of the cases, biotech innovation starts in academia.
Right.
So, as a former professor, I mean, still professor, but former academy, on leave, I experienced that. You have the ID and you have all the equipment, the infrastructure that the public sector is providing you. But if you become an entrepreneur, at some point with growth, after Series A, you don't have enough space to recruit people. So you are going to look for a space. You're going to buy some equipment, need time for the equipment to be installed. We're talking about 12 months. And believe me, investors really don't like when you say that you're going to spend a lot of money on real estate and equipment, etc. With us, they come and it's all set. Equipment is mutualized. Everything is providing all the services from helping you to fundraise, to legal services, to PR, to cloud, data security, etc. And it's almost off the shelf. It's a real accelerator because we're compressing those 12 months that are generally almost lost or not so productive.
Right.
When you leave academia, you're ready to work as soon as your team moves in.
And I imagine that if it's a sort of we work for biotech, that there's a sort of a spontaneous meeting of minds that could happen between different small entrepreneurial biotech companies.
It's shared workspace.
Yeah.
And
incredible things happen.
Yeah, and what is also interesting is that it connects to what we talked before, because the learnings from Inclusive Brains on how to design a work environment that adapts to you instead of you trying to fit in a work environment, using the algorithms that we've created in order to better understand and predict user behavior. We're applying it also to Emmy Labs in order to create what we hope is the most pleasant, most efficient, and most cost-efficient way to run your biotech company post-Series A.
Really fascinating. You know, Olivier, when we started talking, I think you were a young global leader. I'm not sure what to call you now. A seasoned global leader?
A gray-haired one?
Olivier, thank you so much for your continued friendship in real life and here at Hub Culture. And I'm Edie Lash.